Yeah.
I've hit the go live button.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, here you go. Fernando, let's go.
We are live, everybody. Hello to the What's on an Elephant and Castle Facebook page. I'm Nick, and this is Melissa, and joining us today is Fernando Salvador, who's the founder of S.T.E.M the Violence, which is an organization that uses science, technology, and engineering and math as a tool to empower youth to veer away from crime. So Fernando, so happy that you could be here today. I just gave a little brief introduction that was written on the Facebook page, but can you tell us about who you are and what you do?
Well, thank you so much for this, an amazing opportunity to be able to speak to the wider audience about who we are. I'd just like to send a thanks as well to Diana from the Elephant Hub for given us a great support for our work. Yeah, so I am the founder of S.T.E.M the Violence, which kind of initiated in 2019 as an idea which came from myself, actually, in terms of I wanted to kind of get into programming, and I started teaching myself through kind of like YouTube videos, and so self-taught in a way. And I discovered that there's so much resources out there for people to kind of educate themselves, find their own kind of method of improving their lives. So many skill sets there is out there. So one thing led to the other. I was going to like tech events, I was meeting people, I was in this kind of journey where I was kind of like self-discovering in a way, but at the same time I felt empowered by it all, and I felt this need to empower others by being empowered. So this S.T.E.M the Violence, as you all know, it's been increasing even through lockdown. It's never ending, and I really wanted to create this kind of platform where we could kind of like inspire and empower youth through kind of the advancement in the UK in terms of tech, in terms of science, and there's so much things going on out there, and I want them to kind of see this potential, they change their mindset to see, like, there's so much more to life. There's so much you can do, especially in these times. Coming out of COVID, there's so much in science. When I was going to these tech events, again, I was finding that there was this lack of diversity as well, and I thought, what can I do to kind of put that together and kind of work with companies, work with industries, bring them in, bring the youth in as well to get inspired, and everyone working together to kind of create this kind of resource. And so S.T.E.M the Violence became, from one person, it became 5 people. So now we're 5 people in the team. And the idea behind that was that each individual would bring in their own skill set, their own experience from different sectors in science, in STEM. So we've got individuals who's done like creative computing. We've got individuals that are doing their PhDs. We've got an aspiring astronaut. And now lately we've actually got a professor from Imperial College who's an amazing person, and so we're kind of like partnered up with Imperial College now, looking to kind of create workshops at some point, like we have been doing virtually, and that's where we are at the moment. So we're looking to kind of create virtual workshops. We're looking to the website is actually building as a resource, creating partnership with aerospace companies like Skarora, who we've recently become partners with, and they're a UK-based aerospace company who are looking to launch at the end of this year their first UK launch. And that's something, I mean, for me, that's like, wow, and I really want to kind of use that to empower kids to go, let's be part of this. There's a future for everyone. There's spaces for all, and that's where we are at the moment. And yeah, so.
I think that's amazing, Fernando. And I just, just second that you came on to this live and we chatted, I just know you've got this beautiful passion around helping the youth. I'm also kind of interested though, because, for years, a lot of people within my circle, and they've been coming up with solutions to try to be able to help, say, with the rise in knife crime around the inner city youth in London. And it seems like everyone's trying to always treat the symptom, and it seems like what you're doing is you're going beyond that, and you're actually giving an outlet for youth to be able to come and develop. But how can we start to get down to this root? Where is it, from your experience? Where's the root of this violence coming from?
I personally think, I mean, I'm at no point when I say that like STEM the violence is the only solution there is out there. I think it's something where we kind of have to kind of create a collaboration with others as well, because at the end of the day, we need to kind of be able to signpost as well. There's a lot of other factors involved, in terms of where does this violence come from, and the only way we can kind of like, really get to the root of it is kind of collaborate, bring in different skill sets in, from, like, say, the safeguarding, you know therapy, all types of kind of things that are already out there. And I think it just needs to all come together and work together, and that way we can signpost everyone to what they want to do, because there's a lot of things out there going on. Actually, there is a lot of good work going on out there, but it's all about channeling that energy to the right people.
I think what you were speaking to before is this idea of like motivating people, especially with younger folks, is like, I'm going to say I'm definitely not in the younger folks category anymore, but like the idea of like not feeling stuck almost, and thinking that your environment is the only possible reality for you, and it dictates the rest of your life. So you're kind of like almost surrendering to this, well, this has got to be because maybe my guardians, my parents, my family was this for me, and I have to guess this is my lot. So the almost interrupting or breaking that cycle, right? That like shifting it a little bit to, I think, to your point of, there's different options. There can be different options, but again, like I think what you're doing, correct me if I'm wrong, is also like just modeling, like being role models, or is that the right word? Role models? Would you call yourself a role model? I don't want to put that word in your mouth. What would you call yourself?
Mentor, maybe.
Mentor. Maybe
In terms of the experience, I was born in London. I was raised in Hammersmith. And now, especially like for example, now that we're working with Imperial College, who kind of do a lot of work in that kind of area, it's like, if I feel like I'm able to give back, in terms of where, and I know what it's like to kind of like grow up in London, with, I myself kind of suffered a lot with my own identity as well for a long time. And again, it's a fact of other, based with other factors that have, an impact on young people. And so, yeah, definitely, it's all about sparking that curiosity, change that mindset. They might, oh wow, look, this is amazing, like, let's get involved and break those barriers down. And I'm so, we're so fortunate to have Imperial College on our side as well, because again, I never thought I'd ever work in partnership with such a, prestigious university. A lot of kids don't even have, they probably wouldn't even think about going to a university like that. But to be able to bring them on board, and for the, the idea was to actually kind of make have visits there, have workshops there, and hopefully when COVID, gets to a safe kind of safe environment, we'll be able to kind of, invite kids to come over, to come down. We go and do some workshops in Imperial College, and just imagine that feeling that, wow, I'm actually at Imperial College. It's phenomenal. So yeah, it's just building those experiences, and making people will make you think that you feel that everything's possible. That's the main thing.
things are possible.
It's actually today, I believe, it marks 1 year of lockdown, and it's kind of that we're coming on here, and it is 1 year since the first lockdown started. And just before we came on, you guys were briefly talking about how, in your lives, like personal, being in person with people is so much more effective than what we can do virtually. Although virtually things have been, we've had such a blessing that we've had these platforms be able to get people connected still. But how have you seen, what has the last year, how has it affected STEM and what you're doing, and how have you kind of adapted, and how do you think you'll be able to pivot moving forward, knowing that we're kind of always going to have to be cautious of some kind of virus now going forward?
Yes, I feel like we need to kind of, well, we've learned that we need to be adaptable as well, and be able to just, change with how in terms of waves, in terms of like, we're constantly monitoring the news and stuff and seeing how what impact it may have, because especially initially we kind of wanted to kind of create this partnership with the tech hubs, for example, Microsoft and Free Discovery, who have their own tech hubs in London. And that's how we started. We kind of created events there, inviting schools to come along. COVID stopped that, unfortunately, but we had to kind of go on to, create a bigger kind of following in social media. So in some ways it's been, it's helped us grow in social media, get the message out there. And then we've also kind of created workshops virtually, which in some ways is actually helped us in terms of reaching out even further. So we were able to kind of get people from NASA to come on board to talk about what they do and stuff. Yeah. So I had an interview with one of the engineers who worked on the rover that's gone to Mars, the Pacific. I can't even say it. Yeah. So, and you say, so, there's me talking to this engineer who, who spoke about his work, spoke about where he came from and how he got into STEM, and and that's where that idea of using storytelling, these amazing people doing these amazing things, getting interviews, getting them to talk about what they do, and hopefully with that just inspire youth to kind of, to follow such role models.
So you're on the flip side of the interview process today. How does that feel? Does it feel super weird?
It does, 100%, especially as live. I mean, yes, it does. Again, I mean, in some ways, they say that, because it's virtually, sometimes it's that fact that you're not there in person that actually is not that bad.
Yeah.
But even though, you still have that, element inside your mind thinking, oh, wait a minute, it's live.
Oh yeah, this live messes you up, me up anyway. I would say it just makes me feel like I have to perform a certain way, because on a good day I'm super awkward and uncomfortable, and then I have no chance to I don't know, take another step. Anyway, sorry, Nick, go on.
No, I just keep watching the Northern Lights behind you, Fernando. I know we talked about it before again that we came on, and it's just this thing. And you were talking about role models, and I think now today, like I've spent most of my time in England, here in London, and I'm a big football fan, and in my job I got to meet a lot of football players, and they're really cool guys. But we seem to be putting, and I love athletes, I love sport, but there seems to be this disproportionate value put on, of being a football player compared to being a science or an engineer or a mathematician. And you see now children wanting to try to emulate the stars in the Premier League, which you've got a better chance of winning the lottery 3 times than becoming a professional Premier Football League player. And how do you go about exposing the youth in your environment to these great role models of the astronauts and the scientists and the engineers? How do you do that?
Well, during lockdown, I have been kind of like in contacting people, and for example, we contacted a cosmonaut from Ecuador who's actually looking to be one of the first cosmonauts in space for the Latin American community. And he, I told him who we are and what we did, and they were happy to kind of collaborate with us, and they gave us, he gave us his story, which what we've done is kind of create a profile which is added onto our website. And there it talks about what, who he is and what he's looking to do. And just by having an image of him as well, which also helps, because again, I feel like sometimes we need to kind of see our reflection on the these amazing role models, and be able to say, oh yeah, that's, if he can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. And I see it from I'm a father of two, so my oldest is nine years old, and I've actually learned from her a lot more, because I see it sometimes when she's watching like superheroes, for example. She's, I've heard her say, oh, wait a minute, she looks just like me.
Mm.
And I'm like, wow, that's so powerful. And it makes me wonder, did I ever think like that when I was a kid? I just maybe subconsciously I did, who knows? And just seeing what she sees, she's seen police officers, so she's half Ecuadorian and half Indian. She's seen police officers, Asian police officers, of possibly of Indian descent, and she's gone, oh wow, she's a police officer. Maybe I can be one too.
Mm.
So, it's powerful, and that's what we want to kind of like, we were looking to kind of create what, with the profiles that we're doing on our website, to kind of reflect everyone that we can, as much as possible, to show that diversity, and that everyone can be a STEM professional.
It's so amazing, like the idea of like you said storytelling a couple of times, and then like representation and storytelling, because so often sometimes there's the stories that are told or like given the most um like awareness are like very privileged white male bodied cisgendered kind of stories, where it's not really a full scope of the different experiences of humans. And so the representation piece, and then along with Nick's question of like, we're also taught like real success and achievement or like value comes with the top of sports and athletes, which is super cool and exciting, and talent. But then there's all this other space that opens up for possibility, right? Which I think is what you're speaking to, is representation and possibility.
That's right, yeah. And I mean, the other thing as well is that, again, I'm not saying that science, everyone has to be a scientist, but nowadays as well, it's this thing where we all can be, no matter, and many things really now. Before it was, you're shaped into, you're a mold, and that's what you are for the rest of your life. Now there is just so much possibilities that you can, learn so much as you go along. A lot of youngsters feel that, okay, my studies end there and that's it, I won't have to study again. But from experience, I feel like the more you study, the more you kind of evolve as you get older. Your chances and your opportunities open, even though, no matter how old you are. So it's that kind of, you could be whatever you want, really. That, especially now, there's so much out there, and you just need to be able to say, okay, I want to, I want to do that, and you do it, and there's those resources out there. Go for it. That's what has to, that's my message to youngsters out there.
Here's a question to both of you. What did you guys want to be when you were growing up? So when you were around Fernando's daughter's age, what are the 3 things that you wanted to be?
3? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because you always had a choice, right? An astronaut, a cowboy, a fireman, those kind of things. But what were yours?
Mine is so boring.
To
be a journalist, I think. That's what I wanted to. I didn't have 3 things. I think I wanted to be a journalist. Like I was into reading and writing and like curious about people and behaviors. And I think, well, it's not surprising I ended up being a therapist, I guess, actually, as I say that out loud. But I did want to be a journalist. That's my memory anyway.
What were yours, Fernando?
I want to be an artist. Yeah, I've always loved drawing, and I mean, actually, I kind of went that way. So I did architecture long time ago, But sadly, because of things that happen in life, I didn't complete it. But I really always wanted to be an artist, and I still do a few things here. You know, I've got my own kind of Instagram page, but it's not going to really nowhere. But you know, it just feels nice that, you know, to be able to showcase your work. And yeah, I've always wanted to be an artist. Like,
How do you incorporate do you incorporate any of your artist desires into, like, well, your very science environment now?
yes, actually, in some ways I do, because I kind of like, so last year I created this drawing of a scientist. Sorry, um, well, she's an aspiring astronaut from Canada, actually. Reminds me, yeah, she's from Canada. And you know, and I'm still working on that drawing, but
Mm.
again, it's another way of portraying, of you know, these amazing professionals out there. And she loved it. You know, I sent her an image, and again, I'm not finished because, you know, there's so much going on and stuff. But once it's finished, like, she'll be happy to, you know, to put it on her profile
Nice.
or whatnot. So I'm looking forward to seeing the finish drawing of her.
You're combining the world.
No, that's it. I mean, again, you know, creativity is so important as well. Social media, you know, that you need that kind of creativity. You need to be able to kind of be creative so you can engage, and you can create that engagement. You can create that following. You can, you know, creativity is important, 100%. In in any kind of field, I feel. Um, yeah.
My question to you both about what, you know, as I was trying to figure out about this age of innocence, you know, this time where, you know, you could be an astronaut or, you know, whatever you want it to be. And then we start to kind of get these pressures put upon us by parents, teachers, coaches, you know, about things that at a very early age we're meant to be kind of put into these pegs, you know, and we're not fully developed yet as people. And I, like Melissa, like I know when I was 18 years old and I graduated from high school, and said about your future ambitions, and it said that I wanted to move to Europe, play professional ice hockey, get a degree in education, and become a journalist. So, and it's funny because I did all those things, and I actually became a live sports broadcaster. And my dad actually stopped me from going into education. He thought that you know, he was like, Nick, I don't advise it. Just go through another route. But I don't ever really remember feeling a passion towards anything until I turned 45, you know, and I eked my way through life of trying to run a business and doing all this stuff and being an entrepreneur and running production companies and film companies, never really finding any passion until I was like 45 years old. And I think I'm wondering why it's that we're stuck into these systems again that don't allow us to develop passions or purpose, or even say, hey, we live in this different world now. Why do we have to have one career?
Mm.
You know, why can't we have 2 or 3 different careers?
Yeah. I kind of feel like yourself in some way, because I feel like for me, it's the experiences I've had. You know, I've had different types of um, you know, worked in different fields, and you know, I was an IT help desk support. I was into loads, you know, loads of different jobs. And I think there comes a time in life when kind of everything comes together in a way, and like, wow, wait a minute, I think I see something, you know. And that's where you need to kind of take that opportunity. Some people see it really early in life, and some people, you know, I don't think there's any kind of specific moment in life that it has to happen. It just, but when it happens, you know it happens, and you feel it, and that's where that passion and comes from. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your sorry, Fernando, did I interrupt you? I
No,
apologize.
no, no.
Nick, what's your passion then at 45? It's like I assume it's what we're doing with the Free Tribe and community. But like, I'm gonna throw what
Yeah,
is
it was about being able to build a platform where people can come together and share common experiences and build community. And that's because it's what changed my life, was when I felt connection, and I was like, whoa, I am connected to people. Where for so many years I was like operating as an individual, driven by ego and driven by expectations that I had learned from a very young age, that I had to have certain things to appear successful, you know. And it was until I was completely stripped down to, you know, a nothingness to begin growing. Wow, I feel connection and community. Let's enable other people to do that, where we, you know, look back at all of human existence. You know, we've always had some kind of a purpose or a role within a community, and it seems like nowadays we've been again driven to this kind of ideals and ideologies that we have to have other exist at levels of existence to be successful, rather than just going back down to kind of our bare roots of human existence of community and connection. So that's it, Mel. Really, it was just through, you know, life experiences that brought me to this.
Yeah.
But that's what makes
Yeah.
your question stronger, I guess, you know. And the more you kind of engage and the more you interact and hear other stories, you may not know it, but it's actually building you as a person as well, which then you pass it on to others, which is amazing. And that's, I feel like, again, with what we're doing, um everything that I'm listening, everything that, you know, I'm hearing from experiences is building in, you know, in our platform, and contributing, you know, empowering others to kind of follow. And hopefully, you know, some may see signs at a younger age so that they can change their futures and change their thoughts about things around them.
Yeah, it's so interesting because the idea is like we all have a purpose, right? And we could figure it out however we figure it out. But the thing around passion and connecting into the purpose is the passion can change and it can grow and transform and shift. I mean, it makes a lot of sense that it would, considering like I think none of us are the same people, or most of the world were the same people we were last year pre-locked, like 1 year ago to the date almost. Like
Yeah, yeah.
so much we've learned about ourselves. So like we might have sparked different passions over the
Mhm.
year of having to sit with ourselves and reflect and be really creative
Yeah,
in how we are going to show up for ourselves, how we're going to express our feelings and our thoughts and all these things. Like, so there is that relationship, like the purpose is the purpose. And that could also change too, but it is the whole point of it can change. You can be more than one thing
mhm.
at one time, right? And I think that's what you keep referring to, Fernando, which is so important. Such a important lesson is you don't have to be one thing all the time because you decide at 18 you're going to be that. There's so many other ways you could operate, right? Navigate.
That's right. Yeah, and anything anything you do in life, you learn something. So, and you can always pass that on. You know, you know, you can always use that experience, and it's, I think, it's what makes you stronger as a person as well.
Mhm.
Um, Unfortunately, we have to go through certain things in life, like everyone, you know, and bad experiences, good experience, no matter what experience it is, but you've learned something from that.
Yeah, like every person is a teacher and every experience is a teaching. And if like, I mean, that doesn't make the grief not so grief. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm struggling.
No, 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 no way. Me as well. I couldn't. I lost my words early on as well.
I had coffee at 7 a.m. and it's 11:30. It is long gone. So yeah, the teaching, the teachers, it doesn't mean the pain doesn't come and it's real and it knocks out doubt and it brings us to knees. That happens. But that doesn't mean there's also not something there that, like you were saying, like reveals something part about ourselves, something we could learn from. And then to your point before too, is like we get to be mirrors for other people. So our stories become a learning potentially for somebody else. Say like, yeah, it
Yeah,
sucks, but we know that's what it's about. I've been there too, right? Like I've been there too. And that makes it all feel a bit easier at the end of the day, that you're not the only one that it's happening to in the world, you know?
that's right. And in some ways, like you said, like you guys said, that I think doing things virtually has actually helped a lot in terms of people being connected with what they're going through. You know,
Yeah.
especially now. We've all gone through certain things, and it's when you start talking, when you, oh, wait a minute, I'm
Yeah.
not the only one.
Isn't it bananas when we keep things quiet that we think that, first of all, the more quiet we are, the bigger it becomes in our head and the story, like at least for me, I'm so dramatic. And like the stories I can tell myself about myself and my experience, about myself and my experience, so dramatic. And I make so much meaning. And I think a lot for my life too. Oh, I'm not speaking English properly. For most of my life, it was really, like I must be the only one going through this. It must be an only Melissa experience of this world. And then for some reason I said one thing out loud about what I was feeling, and I was like, yeah, me too. somebody responded, yeah, me too. I'm like, what? Me too. And then the more you realize, it's like not just a you thing. It's we're all kind of experiencing the same things. Like obviously education or economics and social and culture and religion, all of this stuff impacts it for sure. But the human experience of feeling like shit sometimes or feeling sad or lost, like we can all on some level meet that feeling, you know? It's
Mm.
always important to remind people of that, I think.
Yeah. And that's what's always good to talk.
Yeah, just say things out loud sometimes.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It's about creating spaces where people can talk and talk safely, because I think everyone's talking about like getting back to normal. And I was thinking about normal as being, old systems, and Fernando, like the systems that youth are put into nowadays with education and with all the other things that they have to fit into, you know, it, and I just feel this restlessness, this unease with why do we have to fit into these systems? And maybe this is an opportunity for us to challenge these systems and these norms so that we don't, because that's what it feels like. It feels like the universe is not happy fitting into all of these systems, which ultimately only benefit a few, right? A few at the top. Go to this university, pay this ton of cash, get into ton of debt, pay loads of it, get into this job, repay the debt, all this kind of stuff, so that we're in these systems. And I think that, if we can create spaces for young people to be able to express themselves and say, this isn't comfortable for me,
Mm.
and to be able to have an outlet like yours. I know, like you said, it's one of many where they can then express themselves in different ways that challenge these norms and challenge these advertisers and these Instagram things and these social media that are literally just there. We're just products for them now. That was just a bit of a rant. So, but yeah, I think that's what it is. It's about creating spaces for people to feel safe, to challenge these things, and then to give them outlets where they can, as we've talked about, find some kind of passion, and at an early age.
Mm. That's right. And then hopefully even, yeah, like I mentioned, signposting them to kind of organizations who are already kind of running programs to kind of, now, you don't have to go to university. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good thing to go to university, but now you can do it like there's apprenticeships, and there's just so many
Mhm.
different ways of getting involved in STEM as well. So just the thing is, I do remember when I was younger, it was quite difficult actually in terms of career kind of advisors. Like I remember I really had some really bad ones actually. um and sometimes just that kind of um experience can change your life. It's like you got one bad your career advisor and it's like boom, you end up doing something completely different. um it's so important. There's the specific moments in life at a young age where there needs to be kind of like um support,
Yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
a pathway, or something where a signpost to say, look, you know
Yeah.
this is what you can
Yeah.
do. and
Yeah.
that's again, that's something that we're trying to work towards, to make sure that we have all that. It's early days for us. I mean, we've again, like I said, we started from 2019. It's only last year that we've kind of grown to what we are now, and the partnership that we have now. And I feel like there's so much more that we can do. So whoever's, I'm open to collaboration with anyone out there who would be happy to be part of. Like I said, it's something that we all have to be part of, collaborating. It's not going to be one of those like just me and and the
Mhm.
platform needs to kind of work together with others as well.
Um, you have to know things about science to collaborate. So I'm like, I'll collaborate, but I don't know stuff about.
It's just stuff.
This is the other thing as well. You don't, that the other thing that we want to kind of break down is this idea where, um, STEM, for example, uh, one of the companies that we partnered up, Skyrora, who are based in Scotland. It's all about showing others where you don't have to be a scientist to be part of this. You could be anything. Your jobs, your skills that you already have, your experiences. You could be a part of that organization in different roles. It doesn't require a rocket scientist. you know it doesn't require you to even probably understand, you know, what the science is behind a rocket going to space. There's so many job roles around that, and at the moment, the space industry is growing in
Mm.
the UK. There's so much interest in there, and it's all about getting people in early, you know, so that they can help evolve,
Yeah,
us, as a nation to advance in technology and space. So
yeah.
there's a lot out there.
Because literally the solutions are coming for will have to come from the youth because I remember my dad was saying I was telling my dad once. My dad's passed away, but I was like, I don't want to have kids, and he's like, no, Nick. He goes, it's really important that you have kids and raise good kids in this world who can have a positive impact because the world needs the youth to I don't want to say it, but to fix the mess that we've made. But in a way, yes, like, and I see some of these young science programs where there's like 13, 14-year-old people who are coming up with ideas to take plastic out of the ocean, and you're like, what? And the simple fact that they have to think about that is tragic, but the
Yeah.
beautiful thing is that they're coming up with solutions.
Yes.
And I think yeah.
Yeah. And just imagine how many out there who haven't got access to tech to be
Yeah.
able to
Mm,
showcase the ideas. There is a lot, a lot of kids out there with so many ideas, and it's all about getting them involved 100%.
yeah,
And this is
because
great thing about social
they're
media.
they're at the point where they can think big,
Mm,
and I
mm.
found that was me. The older I got, the narrower my thinking parameters got. I thought I have to just do this, whereas now it's like, well, let's figure out a way to bounce something to the moon and or like I say, take plastic out of the ocean, because it's this kind of thing of, if you can think it, you can make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, that's 100%. And again, with science, it's like, what if you're thinking about ideas for space, you can also think about our own Earth. It's all about looking after our world as well. So um,
Yeah. What's the point of space if the Earth is gonna die and
yeah,
combust?
no, 100%. We need to always think about, our own world and keeping that alive, keeping everything alive for the next generations, to enjoy what we've enjoyed, and
Mm.
100%. And yeah.
I'm interested to know, we talked about that this is a year, since the first lockdown, and now it does look like we're coming out of things, and with this road path to kind of a full, I don't want to say freedom, but to things becoming normal again. And I'm wondering how, what's this year going to look like for STEM the Violence?
Well, basically, we kind of like still growing the profiles on our website. We're growing the connections we have, and then hopefully, probably by October, we start the virtual workshops.
Mhm.
um Hopefully by then we also kind of have more connections with youth hubs. We've worked hard during these past months, engaging virtually, but again, it's really difficult in terms of, I mean, personally, I'm kind of a really proactive person. I like to go in person and saying, hi, I'm here. I like to like introduce myself in person. And virtually it's great, but you feel like you know I feel better being in person. So hopefully, like you said, if things go to some kind of normality, we're able to do more of that, more in person engagements, going to schools, talking to kids, and hopefully we start the virtual workshops. Actually, we've got something up our sleeve in terms of with Imperial College. We're looking to kind of actually create a workshop like no other workshop. But I'll keep it quiet just in case. Maybe later I'll probably
Everyone's interest. I will say that though. Everyone needs to know now.
actually
Sorry.
no. It's yeah. We I'll keep it, and what I'll do, I'll update you guys 100%. And all I'll say is people to follow our website. We'll put news up there, and our social media. We'll update it with everything was happening.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, we're aiming to just keep engaging and hopefully at some stage as well, actually creating a program of our own, with you know, these universities and industries that we're working together,
Mhm.
create a program. Yeah, so that's the future at the moment.
Cool. Is there? Oh,
Um, sorry, go ahead. No,
no.
I was just wondering. I just had a quick look coming out of our Zoom and onto the Facebook page, and Arthen, please let me forgive me if I mispronounce your name, but Arthenesia, you know, mentions that we do live in this world of systems that kind of well, I'll just read it. We live in a world that encourages debt. Young people barely out of education should not have to experience debt at such an early age, but the system is built for people to pay back debt. So again, kind of just recognizing the you know, the idea that we live in these systems, but they also say so many young people globally coming up with ideas. So, you know, thank you for those comments on the Facebook page. And, you know, Mel, Fernando, do you have any comments on those?
It's true. The
Yeah,
systems
Yeah,
are
yeah,
done.
it's true. You know, yeah.
When we talk about like education and like youth empowerment and inspiration, it is like there's this reality of like the thing that's been given to them is not fair in terms of what they have to start already, like for fixing or trying to fix and make sense of the shit that we left them, or the corporations left them, and the greed left them, and then we blame it on them to pay back the things that they have to pay back because of the ways it already works. So it's 100% true. It's not fair. um that's all I want to say for now. Fernando, I think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
interrupted you, sorry.
no, you know, like we said earlier on, that at the, you know, now with social media, with there's so many ways in where, you know, youth out there can showcase their ideas, and hopefully, you know, they can, you know, their ideas can be taken in, you know,
Mhm.
and be put into action, you know. um
Yeah.
and this is, we need, I think we do need a more an increase of kind of the similar platforms where we can actually
Yeah.
showcase these ideas
Yeah.
and promote it, and so that we get others to kind of come up with ideas as well.
I think it's like true, like um the accessibility, we have to widen the accessibility for people, because education and being able to have an education for free shouldn't be a privileged thing. It should be a thing that's available, because there's so much genius and newness with these younger generations, the younger generations, that is like so inspiring for us older folks, and needed. It's just needed. There's no like question about it. And then also, I think conversations like for older people to really call it out and say, yeah, the way things are have been set up for you to be able to be successful or get a job or make money or have a career is really not fair. It's really not. I don't know how we can say that it's set up for the betterment of the human, right? Because it's not. It's nobody cares about the individual expression of love and peace and passion. It's all like, do this, school, uni,
Get
job,
this.
5, and then you'll be successful and you get all the things. That's how it's set up. And that's so much of this shit is we just unlearn all the things we were taught about what success needs to look like, right? That's, I know, Fernando, I can't speak to you, but for myself and Nick, so much of it's been unlearning the things we thought we were taught that meant success and good person and all that smart stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other thing actually, which I'm hoping to kind of teach my kids as well, is life. I mean, yeah, like you say, you can, you know, okay, you go to college, you go to, you know, you go to university, but you never think about the in between, like the things that can actually, that life brings to you, because sometimes those things have an impact 100% to where you're going. You know, it doesn't just work. You might think, okay, I'm gonna finish university in 4 years, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. It doesn't happen that way sometimes. There's loads of things that happen that come out of nowhere, and it's like, oh my word, like what do I do now? And sometimes you know, if a person is not strong will, or has lost themselves and don't know how to pick themselves up and carry on or change or adapt, then that can be difficult. So life experiences, being able to be resilient, which is a good a word. You have to be resilient, and you have to, you know, perseverance, which is the word. But actually, that's the role. But that's the role that's gone to mind. And I just the
There you
word
go.
yeah. Perseverance.
You got it. In the last minute, you got it.
You got it.
Got it.
You
Yeah.
got it. You got it.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
I'll kind of end it on this. What really kind of has struck home for me, because in the last couple of months we've spoken to people from all different generations, and with what you're doing with STEM and the youth, and it really is about this kind of connection between, you know, intergenerational conversations where, you know, someone my age can be inspired by a youth of any age by these beautiful big brained ideas, but then, you know, the youth can kind of talk about our experiences and the hurdles that we've had to overcome, so perhaps they don't have to have the same challenges. And I think it's just about being able to create safe spaces for people to have these conversations. And I'd love to be able to, once we can meet face to face, Fernando's, we can all get together maybe in the Elephant and Castle and come up with some conversations there. So thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you guys. Thank you so much. And yes, definitely 100%. I mean, Elephant Castle is, you know, I love Elephant Castle. You know, I've grown going there. My family's gone there. You know, we've got a very strong Latin American community there. So yes, definitely. I look forward to meeting you there.
Cool.
And Melissa.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you everybody at the What's On at Elephant Castle. We will be back on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Me and Michelle will be doing Thursday at 11. Me and Michelle are going to be leading a workshop around becoming friends with yourself. I think it's part 3. So we'll see you then. Thanks everybody for joining us. And thanks again, Fernando. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye everybody.